Maserati may have won the FIA GT1 World Championship in 2010, but Abu Dhabi staged the opening act of a whole new drama in 2011. Winners of the SRO Trophy for Manufacturers in 2010, Aston Martin returned with two cars run by the young driver team based in Germany. However, the pairing that challenged for the driver's title had been separated. Darren Turner was joined by former LMS champion Stefan Rucker in the number 8 car, while Thomas Enger teamed up with former rival Alex Muller in number 7. French equipe Hexis, which had finished second in the team's championship, returned with its two cars, but only Clipio Piccioni remained from the driver lineup. He was joined by young Dutch pilot Stef Dusseldorp, who switched from Formula 3. The other car featured experienced Italian Andrea Piccini, joined by 2010 GT3 champion Christian Hohenadel. The V8 front-engine Corvette of DKR Engineering was a tried and trusty machine, and the regular driver in the number 47 car was 22-year-old Frenchman Michael Rossi, who'd been a championship contender in SEAT Eurocup over the previous 2 years. A Corvette had won the opening race 12 months previously, so hopes were high. A new team to the grid, ex-Inbank Team China, also went with the American muscle car, in a striking red and yellow colour scheme based on China's national colours. Young talent Nicky Katzberg was joined by seasoned Corvette campaigner Mike Hasemans for the early part of the season. The Ford GTs of the Mark VDS team featured Bas Leinders, who worked as both team manager and driver, and former Corvette racer Mark Henrici. The second car saw Maxime Martin return with Fred Makovicky for some of the races and different co-drivers for others. Sister team Belgian Racing bought the ex-Martec cars. Various drivers would be at the wheel, although Frenchman Antoine Leclerc was a regular, starting the season with French veteran Fabien Gillois. Belgian lady racer Vanina X would also become a key member of the team a little later in the season. Lamborghini won 2 races in 2010, and the Murcielago was expected to be fast once again. Former Nissan team Swiss Racing combined Lamborghini specialist Peter Cox with former FIA GT champion Carl Wendlinger in one car, and Max Nielsen returned to the series in the other, along with Czech driver Jiří Janak. Meanwhile, the Al Inkel team was the only outfit to have stuck with a driver pairing in Nicky Pastorelli and Dominic Schwager, who proved to be fast but unlucky, while Marc Basseng had signed up Marcus Winkelhock to join him in the other car, and Winkelhock's hard-charging DTM experience was being relied upon to help sustain a championship challenge. Nissan were entering with all guns blazing. With an amazing list of drivers and 2 closely allied teams, there was no doubting their championship credentials. At JR Motorsports, Nissan factory driver Michael Krum and former ALMS champion Lucas Luhr were the German partners, while Peter Dumbreck and Richard Westbrook were the all-British crew in the other car. At Sumo Power, 2 Brazilians that won in other cars the previous season combined forces to start this year. Enrique Benoldi and Ricardo Zonta made another formidable lineup, while Silverstone 2010 winner Jamie Campbell-Walter was joined by double ALMS champion and former Grand Prix driver David Brabham. So the first qualifying race of the season got underway in daytime in Abu Dhabi, and from pole position it was Darren Turner in the Aston Martin who shot into the lead at the first corner, but the other Aston Martin was in trouble. The car driven by Thomas Enger involved in an incident taking out several cars as a result, including the Dominic Schwager Nicky Pastorelli Lamborghini taken out, as was Michael Rossi's Corvette. The incident doing a fair bit of damage, not a great way to start the season. Well, Stefan Rucker had problems with his Aston Martin later on in the race, so their pole position wasn't turned into a race victory, sadly for them. But it did prove to be an excellent start to the season for Max Martin and Fred Makovicky, who took victory in the Ford GT, chased home by 2 Nissans, the Dumbreck Westbrook car and machine of Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum. It's nighttime in Abu Dhabi, and the Yas Hotel shining in the darkness as we get ready for the first championship race of the 2011 season. Is the Ford GT that won the first race of the season, going to be able to dominate and win the championship race as well. Stefan Rattel, the chairman of the SRO Motorsport Group, with dignitaries on the grid just before this race gets underway. And the first race of the season, the first championship race with the big points about to start. Here we go then, and the rolling start gets underway, and Enrique Bernoldi in the Nissan from the second row makes an excellent getaway. The pole sitter, Max Martin, not doing too well, and Marcus Winkelhock going wide in the first corner. In the middle of the three there behind them is Peter Dumbreck in the Nissan. Everybody this time, I think, making it through the first corner, although one or two cars running wide. Keep an eye out on the Aston Martin down towards the back there of Stefan Mucker, trying to make up some ground in the early stages. But Bernoldi really has shot ahead. Oh, somebody cutting across the grass in the background. That was the other Sumo Power Nissan as well. That car being driven by David Brabham as he comes out wide at the back. There's the Dominic Schwager, Nicky Pastorelli car. But the Nissan up front, Enrique Bernoldi leading another Nissan. That's Peter Dumbreck, the car he shares with Richard Westbrook. There, diving down the inside, is the Aston Martin. I tell you what, Stefan Mucker has made an amazing start here in this race. He's made up a lot of places on the opening lap, running slightly wide the number 9 Belgian racing car of Antoine Leclerc. But up front, the two Nissans are getting away a little bit from the Ford that was on pole position but won the qualifying race. Look at this gaggle of cars in the background as well. Everybody trying to find some ground in the early laps of this 1 hour race. But it's Nissan 1-2, Ford in third. Fourth place is the Marcus Winkelhock Lamborghini, as everybody else behind just tries to find their way through. The number 7 Aston Martin that was right at the back of the field after the accident in the qualifying race, well, it's made up a little bit of ground, but Alex Muller has a lot of work to do. He has got past the two Belgian racing Fords, the bright yellow cars, but there are still plenty of others to try and overtake. Fred Makovicky, teammate to Max Martin in the Ford, won't have been happy with the start. The Nissans, I think, are very happy about the getaway there, with Bernoldi coming through from that second row. Right behind Max Martin in the Ford, it is Marcus Winkelhock in the Lamborghini, and then the first of the Hexis cars which is chasing them, and that's Clivio Piccioni. Piccioni trying to stay in touch with the leaders at the moment as the race continues. Oh, and we've got a puncture by the looks of things for the number 23 Nissan. Let's just see, well, yeah, there you can see trailing round. That is the Michael Krum Lucas Luhr car, and that's not the start to the season that they were hoping for. Lucas Luhr limping his way round the track, but the other JRM car is still running very strongly. There it is in second place, or is it? It's under attack, and Max Martin goes through on the inside, takes second place away, and Peter Dumbreck wasn't really able to defend the position there, so he drops back down to third, and he's still under attack. Let's just take another look at that. Great piece of overtaking from Martin, lined it up beautifully, had the momentum at the previous turn and was able to go through. And look, he's catching as they come into the pit. So now it's going to be battle in the pit lane between the top two. Interestingly, we've got some cars, of course, staying out, some deciding to come in, and it looks as though Dumbreck has stayed out. The Nissan that came in there was the German car that had been limping around, of course. Now Bernoldi's going to be handing over to Ricardo Zonta. At the same time, we'll see Max Martin hand over to Fred Makovicky. Several cars in at the same point in this race, using the opportunity, and away goes Ricardo Zonta, and just up ahead now, oh, Makovicky straight to the side, but look ahead, the Hexis Aston was actually ahead of both of them, and these two are still fighting. They're rubbing their way down the pit lane. That's crazy stuff. Fred Makovicky eventually gets in front of Ricardo Zonta, and as they come out of the pits, it's Ford ahead of Nissan, but there's some smoke, I think, from the back of the Nissan. It's not looking at all healthy. Darren Turner emerges from the pits as well, and Fred Makovicky on his way. Well, he might be ahead of that Nissan, but ahead of him is the Hexis Aston Martin that Clivio Piccioni was driving earlier. Let's just see, there is Ricardo Zonta really limping around and losing several places. And all the hard work that Enrique Bernoldi did in the first stint there is completely undone. You can see the puncture on the right front of Ricardo Zonta's car. Into the pits now has come the number 22 Nissan, Peter Dumbreck, handing over to Richard Westbrook. Now remember, this car was running second or third. It had just dropped to third before the pit stops. So it's still in the hunt for a podium finish here, and they've got to try and get a decent stop and then come back out onto the circuit. They're trying to sort out what happened in that pit stop. Oh, and it is a drive-through penalty. No great surprise there for Fred Makovicky. Look at this. While Zonta was trying to do his seatbelts up, the Ford was trying to push him into the pit wall. It was all happening, and indeed a drive-through penalty has come along. Let's get down to the pits with Hayley Coxon.
Steph, hold on to Nissan. Can he hold his position?
Yes, it's fantastic, incredible. We just come for take the point, and at this time the position is one, so incredible.
Steph Dusseldorp has driven an amazing race on his debut in the number 3 Hex's Aston Martin. He has managed to fend off Richard Westbrook, and he comes through to take victory for Hexis in the first championship race of the season. And Westbrook threw everything at him, but the youngster, fresh out of Formula 3, had an answer. They take victory with Piccioni, second place for Westbrook and Dumbreck, and finishing in a good third place in the end. The Marc Basseng, Marcus Winkelhock Lamborghini ahead of 3 Aston Martins, the other Hex's car in there, as well as the 2 young driver machines. Well, it has been an absolutely superb start to the season for Piccioni and Dusseldorp. Let's get down and hear from them.
Steph, you had some challenges in the team at the beginning of the weekend, but what a debut that was for you.
Yeah, incredible. The team did a fantastic job. Clivio did a first good run. We did a superb pit stop, and I finished at the last 10 runs was hard battling, but incredible.
And Clivio, what about that pit stop?
It's just amazing. I think today we have a big advantage, and I hope we keep it all year.
So 25 points for the victory in Abu Dhabi, going the way of Piccioni and Dusseldorp for the Hexis team. From Abu Dhabi, the teams travelled to Zolder in Belgium. For the race in Zolder, local girl Vanina Ix fittingly joined the Belgian racing team in a Ford GT.
I am very much looking forward to race this weekend in Zolder. Last time I was here it was 2008, and it was for the 24 hours, so it's a completely different mindset because here is a sprint race, 200% concentration from the first lap to the end.
Meanwhile, Nissan was hoping to put behind them the events of Abu Dhabi that saw contact in the pit lane when battling for the lead. Former Grand Prix driver Ricardo Zonta was very unhappy about the way the incident had developed.
We finished our pit stop. I get in the car. When I just leave the garage, the Ford car was in front of us in the pit lane garage, and he just dropped the car in 90 degrees to my car and hit me in the pit lane. And as everybody knows, who is first on the pit line has the preference, and I think it was a big mistake from them to release the car before my car was in the fast line.
The start of the qualifying race in Zolder saw an aggressive getaway by Stefan Mucker on the outside, trying to go around the outside of Nicky Pastorelli in the Lamborghini, but contact was made and the 2 cars spun in front of the pack, sending several off the road onto the grass. Thankfully, most managed to avoid, but damage was done to several cars, including the Mark VDS of Bas Linders, and damage to the Nissan as well. The Hexis team had another great stop, and the number 4 car was leading until slight contact with the number 38 Lamborghini, and ultimately it was Marc Basseng and Marcus Winkelhock who took victory in that Lamborghini ahead of the Corvette of Mike Hazelmans and Nicky Katzberg, with Muller and Enger in third. It's a beautiful day as we prepare for the championship race here at Zolder, and down on the grid it's looking very busy. Let's see how the grid lines up then. Basseng and Hazelmans on the front row with Lamborghini and Corvette respectively. Then the Aston Martin of Muller with Wendlinger and a Lamborghini. Then the first of the Fords, that's Max Martin. He's got Clivio Piccioni next door in the Aston Martin. Then Lucas Law in the Nissan, Nielsen in another Lamborghini. They're on the 4th row, row 5, Rossi and Hohenadel. Let's see what happens at the start. Oh, there's a bit of movement right in the middle of the pack there, but it's the Corvette up front of Mike Hazelman. So, and we've got contact in the wall. 2 Nissans have hit each other. There's a Corvette out as well, and that's Zonta who has taken out, I think, Jamie Campbell-Walter. Well, up front, in fact, it's the Lamborghini of Marc Basseng that leads this race. There's the other Nissan of Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum somewhat further down the pack. But real drama on the opening lap here. The Lamborghini's certainly been able to take full advantage of that. Running in third place is Alex Muller in the Aston Martin, the car he shares with Thomas Enger. But the Nissan camp will be watching what's happened, and they won't be able to believe it, I don't think. We've still got 2 Nissans in this race, of course. Just seeing the Lucas Luhr, Michael Krum car coming through, but look at that. The damage done to Ricardo Zonta's machine, and after the problems they suffered in Abu Dhabi as well, it's proving to be a very difficult start for the Brazilian pairing. There's Jamie Campbell-Walter's car, so he and David Brabham out, and also the number 37 Lamborghini. That looks like a mechanical problem for Dominic Schwager, and more bad luck for them. So quite down towards the back of the pack there is the number 22 car, Peter Dumbreck, the Nissan trying to make up some ground. He's he's trying to dive up the inside of the number 44. Oh, they made contact. Round goes Peter Dumbreck. Wasn't able to squeeze through past Mark Henrici, and that is desperately disappointing. The Belgian car going off as well, and Dumbreck is out of the running now. Look at the damage to the rear suspension. Just take another look at this. Dumbreck going for the move down the inside. He seems almost to be there, but the Ford takes its line. Inevitable contact is made. Round goes Dumbreck, and then he's hit by the number 9 Belgian Ford of Matthias Besch, and that is the end, I'm afraid, of the race for both of those guys. Into the pits then, as the pit window opens, and this is going to be a real rush in the pit lane to see who gets turned around fastest and whether there's going to be a challenge for that Lamborghini that currently leads the race. Number 8 Aston Martin, that looks like a quick turnaround, and on its way it goes once again. So far so good in pit lane. Let's hope no repeat of what happened in Abu Dhabi. They keep it clean, and there's no real change in positions between those cars. They've come out pretty much the same order as they came into the pits, so no one's been able to gain an advantage. Now into the pits has come the Corvette of Mike Hazebands to hand over to Nicky Katzberg. We're still waiting for the race leader to come in. Oh, and just getting out in front of the Corvette. Now that is a big change. The other Hexis car, Andrea Piccini, who's taken over from Christian Hohenadel, and the Hexis team have done what they did in Abu Dhabi, but with their other car, they have gained a good number of places here, getting ahead of that Corvette and the Aston. And look at the background. There's the other group of cars that came in earlier, including their sister car, so they have gained a lot of places thanks to a very, very fast pit stop. Into the pits and back out comes the race leader, and Mark Basseng has handed over to Marcus Winkelhock. Where does he come out? Oh, he comes out miles in front still. So that car leads. The Hexis Aston has moved all the way up to second, having started 10th on the grid, this car. So once again, a fantastic effort by them. Now running in third place behind them is Thomas Enger and another of the Astons. Look at the reaction of Mark Basseng to that lead that they're now enjoying. Michael Krum, meanwhile, in number 23 Nissan, is very, very busy trying to get past the Belgian Racing Ford. Is he going to squeeze up the inside? No, he can't do that quite, and just fending him off, but no, the Ford goes off. Martin Matzke makes a mistake, and Michael Krum takes full advantage of that to gain the place, but not very far up in the overall order, and it doesn't look as though that car's going to score many points. On board here with Fred Macavicki in the Ford GT. He's trying to get past the Hexis Aston Martin that's further down the order. That's the car of Clivio Piccioni, and there's the Aston right in there as well. So Stefan Booker now between those two cars, and Fred Macavicki having to go try and go around the outside. Stefan Booker's on the inside. No way that he can do that. So Macavicki, in attempting to challenge, has actually lost a place to the young driver Aston. But coming around on the final lap then is the Al Inkel Lamborghini. This will be the first ever championship race win for the Al Inkel team, and they've done it in dominant style. Marcus Winkelhock takes victory for himself and Mark Basseng. They have been superb here in Belgium. A fine second place to Andrea Piccini and Christian Hohenadel in the Hexis Aston Martin. Third place is going to go the way of Alex Muller and Thomas Enger in their car. And we've got a great battle for fourth place across the line. Lamborghini versus Corvette. And it's the Lamborghini of Wendlinger and Cox that just takes it very, very narrowly over the Corvette of Hazebands and Katzberg. And just look how close it was as they crossed the line in the fight for fourth place at the end of the race. Absolute delight down there in the Al Inkel camp. They've got the victory. This is a new partnership between Mark Basseng and Marcus Winkelhock, and they have taken a victory in a fine second place. Hohenadel, the reigning GT3 champion, has also done well. Let's go and get some reaction now.
Congratulations, Marcus. You said the pit stop was so important, and the team certainly delivered on that.
Absolutely, yeah. First of all, I have to say really thank you to the team, because the pit stop is very important in this race, and it was a fantastic pit stop. The car was really good from the first lap until the last lap on. It was just great, and I'm just happy.
So Lamborghini take the victory at Zolder. Two Aston Martins of two different teams behind them, and a good result for the Swiss racing team with the Lamborghini Murcielago snatching that fourth place on the line for Wendlinger and Cox, and beating the Exim Team China Corvette of Hazebands and Katzberg. Celebrations indeed for Winkelhock and Basseng after a dominant display this weekend. From Zolder to the Algarve and the Portimao circuit, Texas had started the season well.
We've done a little bit of testing in the winter, but the first race is always something else. So in Abu Dhabi, we took it really easy. It was the first race together, but I think after that in Zolder, it was already very competitive. In qualifying, we did exactly the same time, so it was right there on the pace. We won the first race as a team, second and sixth the second race, so I think we're doing well, and the atmosphere relaxed. That's important for the championship.
Nissan needed to make a comeback after the horrid Zolder that saw 3 cars out early on. Thanks to their second in Abu Dhabi, Westbrook and Dunbrek were still top Nissan, sitting 5th in the points.
You've got to have a lot of bottle here. You know, it's some very fast corners. The car touches hard on the bumps and things like that. So the GTR seems to run well here, and you know, we have a really good lineup of drivers. So I hope that we can at least get a car up the front in the winning position and some other cars close behind.
Peter Dunbrek indeed started from pole position for the qualifying race alongside Dunbrek, the power Nissan, and all the Nissan very competitively in qualifying itself. They were chased by the Lamborghini of Peter Cox down into the first corner. So there's a good contact things were not getting any better for him. It wasn't the only incident on that early lap though. Up into the air went Alex Muller, and both Hex's Aston Martins were in trouble as a result of this accident. Meanwhile, the race was turning into a battle between the two JR Motorsports cars, Lucas Luhr, Michael Krum, and Richard Westbrook and Peter Dunbrek. But Richard Westbrook, who'd taken over from Dunbrek, was able to make the move down into the first corner and go ahead of the sister car and fending off to the flag. And in fact, Richard Westbrook therefore took his first win in GT1. Beautiful Portugal hosts the 3rd event of the 2nd year of GT racing, going truly global, and it is a wonderful circuit on which to watch these powerful machines on the ups and downs, twists and curves of a demanding track. Westbrook and Luhr up front, 2 Nissans on the front row, another one of Campbell Walter on the second with Stefan Mucker, the first of the opposition in an Aston Martin, then Lamborghini and Ford together on row 3, and on row 4 another Lamborghini, this time Marcus Winkelhoff with Mike Hazelmans next door in the Corvette. Race gets underway. Let's see what happens between these two JRM teammates up on the front row. And it's a very good getaway, I think, from Richard Westbrook, but Lucas Luhr on the outside will try and attack, and into the first corner they go. Westbrook takes the advantage. Aston chasing behind the 3 Nissans up front. Now, are they going to get through these first couple of corners cleanly this time? We saw the drama in the qualifying race again. This was almost 4 abreast there, but I think this time they've managed to make it through. Number 20 Nissan, of course, way down the pack after picking up extra grid place penalty as well. Richard Westbrook defending from Lucas Luhr. 3rd place at the moment is Jamie Campbell Walter in the number 21 car there, trying to run the outside in that number 20 Nissan, the other super power car of Enrique Benaldi. The rest of the field now climbing steeply up the hill. Michael Krum watching nervously to see whether his car is going to move into the lead in this race. Not going to be easy though. Westbrook and Dunbrek having won the qualifying race. Now we're on board with Jan Claret. He's driving with Max Martin this weekend, and the Corvette's made a move up the inside. Oh, round goes the Ford. Jan Claret facing the wrong way, and that's not good news as Max Martin tries to score points in the championship, with the Corvette really on a charge. Mike Hazelmans driving again this weekend with Nicky Katzberg, and it's Hazelmans' experience which is now taking him past the other Mark VDS Ford. That's fairly straightforward, and Mark Henrici having no answer to that. Pit stop time. This is going to be crucial between the 2 JR Motorsports cars. Lucas Luhr now handing over to Michael Krum. But remember, it's Richard Westbrook that was leading this race before the pit stop started. That was a good stop by the young driver team. I think they may have gained a place there with the number 8 car as Darren Turner takes over and gets on his way. And there's the number 21 car rejoining of David Brabham. Peter Dunbrek waits nervously for Westbrook to come in, and they're going to be changing over, as are Marcus Winkelhock and Mark Basseng. Peter Dunbrek comes out in front after the driver change, so he is now ahead of Michael Krum, but Richard Westbrook looks concerned. He's chatting to the team. Something is not right there, and well, I wonder. We'll have to wait and see. Dunbrek is leading, but let's get down to the pits for you.
Richard, you dominated the race there, but you don't seem to be too happy about it. You've just been having an animated conversation with the engineer. What's going on?
Yeah, we've got a gearbox problem. The temperature's gone through the roof, so I don't know if we can make it at the moment. It's you can smell the gearbox oil in the car, and it's getting hotter and hotter, so it's really touch and go whether we make it, but hopefully hopefully we can hang on.
Thank you.
Well done, Breck, still in front, but not for much longer. There goes Michael Krum sweeping around the outside. Well, he wouldn't normally be able to do that, Dunbrek. Is he going to fight it? I don't think so, no. Michael Krum takes the place, he takes the lead of the race. Take another look at this. We know Dunbrek is struggling with gearbox temperatures. The gear change may not really be working very well at all, I think. And there's nothing he could do to prevent his teammate sweeping past there. Can they get to the end of the race? That's now the big question, and score some points. Well, it's turning out to be a disappointing day. Oh, it's not looking good. The car is limping, it's going slower and slower. Yeah, Dunbrek pulls the Nissan off to the side of the road, and gearbox problems have accounted for them, and it's such disappointing news for Richard Westbrook. He can barely believe it. Meanwhile, Bas Landers is trying to get past Mark Basseng, trying to get a full. He hops over the curve there. Did he damage the car? I'm not sure as a result of that, but he's certainly been passed by the Nissan, and that's made life very interesting. Battle for 6th place here. Ricardo Zonta in the Nissan on the inside, trying to get past Mark Basseng. The Lamborghini fending him off down around the outside, and it's a real confrontation between very different types of car. The front engine V8 Nissan, and also joining in now there is Bas Landers. So Landers, who made that little mistake earlier, has got one of the places back. 3 different types of car, all fighting furiously on the twists and turns and climbs at the Portimao circuit, and Bas Landers now has got in front of the other 2 into that 6th position, and try and go chasing after the top 5, and Zonta's not given up on trying to get past the Lamborghini yet either. Top quality racing from some of the best GT racers in the world, and it's going all the way to that checkered flag. The leaders are on the final lap, and Mark Basseng still protecting that position from Ricardo Zonta, who's throwing everything he can at getting past. But the leader himself is about to come out of the final turn. There he is. It's Michael Krum who takes victory with Lucas Luhr. 2nd place goes to the Stefan Mucker Darren Turner Aston Martin, with 3rd place for Jamie Campbell-Walter and David Brabham. The Lamborghini of Pastorelli and Schwager behind. But Krum and Luhr take a well-earned victory, but of course disappointment for Westbrook and Dunbrek due to those gearbox problems, who weren't able to fight throughout. They had the advantage earlier on. It is the German pairing that has come through with victory here. We've got a Lamborghini's 4 and 5, first in the Fords, finishes in 6th place. That's Bas Landers. But sheer delight there for Michael Krum and Lucas Luhr, who take victory in Portugal.
Congratulations, Michael. You fought so hard over the weekend to get this, and now the championship race win is yours.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I don't know how to thank Nissan, the team. My teammate Lucas did a fantastic job. Yes, we have been lucky. So in the end, the 22 car had some trouble. But we were really fighting hard for this. We never gave up. We tried to stay in there, and I was waiting for the last few laps to bring the battle down, and luckily I didn't have to do that. So I'm really happy with the Nissan GT-R's performance.
So victory for Krum and Luhr, and that has boosted their chances in the championship. They've moved up to 2nd place, joint 2nd place with Stefan Mucker and Darren Turner, who finished 2nd on the road here in Portimao. But it is still the Al Inkel pairing of Basseng and Winkelhock that lead the points by 20 after the first 3 rounds of the championship. What a great result then for the German pairing. They have taken their victory that they've been looking for so much this season. At last, they feature in the championship points table. From Portugal to Sachsenring in Germany. The young driver team, Sachsenring was the home race. Stefan Mucker was hoping for success.
To finish 2nd in Portimao, we didn't expect that. Now on my home track, I want to do the same. I want to finish on the podium. It will be very tough here, but yeah, we will do our best, and hopefully we can finish again on the podium.
The Corvette had lost a little bit of weight for the weekend thanks to the balance of performance. And although the ex-Impact Team China car had only scored 2 points in Portimao, Hazeman and Katzberg were confident.
The track is new to me, but it seems like it's a track well suited for the Corvette. We need to see in free practice, but I think we can do it this weekend.
Nicky Pastorelli starting the Al Inkel Lamborghini from pole position, but behind the first corner, caught out several cars, including some of the Ford GTs, the 2 sister teams getting involved with one another, and the damage done meant that they weren't going to be able to get decent grid positions for race 2. The other Ford, however, of Maxime Martin, Fred Makovicky, was picking up places. Makovicky in the car for the earlier stint. The Saxon ring really suiting the nimbleness of the Ford GT until contact was made here with the number 7 Aston Martin of Alex Muller. Well, that didn't damage the Ford, and it was still running up towards the front of the field as it came back out after the pit stop and managed to get in front of the Hexis Aston Martin of Dusseldorf and Piccioni for the lead. Meanwhile, the other Hexis car, Hohenadel and Piccini, was picking up some places towards the end, getting past the Westbrook-Dunbrett Nissan. Up front, it was Max Martin and Fred Makovicky who took victory for the second time of the season in a qualifying race, and second place to Dusseldorf and Piccioni in the Aston. The German round of the FIA GT1 World Championship getting underway, and let's take a look at the grid. Martin and Dusseldorf on the front row then, Ford versus Aston Martin, another Aston on the second row, the first of the Nissans, Warren Hughes driving this weekend. Hohenadel and Westbrook are on the third row of the grid, and on row 4 the Allinkel Lamborghini of Schwager with Brabham in his Nissan alongside. Then the Winkelhock Bassen car and Enger and Muller. Lights go to green and away we go. So it's a good start for Stef Dusseldorf, or is it? Because up the inside here comes Max Martin, who's trying to defend from Stefan Mucker. Stefan Mucker's got a good line on the inside. Oh, Mucker just locked up there fractionally. I think he may have tapped into the back of the Ford. Oh, and that's taken the Hexis Aston Martin off as well. The car that was on the front row was Stef Dusseldorf, and problems all the way down. Now we've got a Lamborghini spinning in the... Oh my goodness, chaos. Both of the Swiss racing Lamborghinis have been involved in that incident. There are cars off all over the place, both at turn 1 and on the entrance to turn 2. Oh, what a disappointing start that is for a number of cars. There's smoke pouring off the Lamborghini. I'm not sure that either of those two cars are going to be fit to race. Up front, it's Stefan Mucker who now leads this race. He somehow got through all the melee at the start. That number 6 car still sitting there. That's Max Nielsen's car there. Also Thomas Enger limping around with the Aston Martin, so he's in big trouble as well. And towards the back of the field, the number 23 Nissan, that had a trim through the gravel. Horrible times. The safety car is out. No surprise there with all the debris around the track. Let's take another look. It looks like the number 41 Ford runs wide into the Aston, but he might have already had a slight tap from behind. That was difficult to see. Off went Stef Dusseldorf way wide into the gravel trap. That was Mucker, yeah. It looked like there may have been some contact, and Max Martin was able to keep going, but he lost a lot of places, as you can see. And then what happened here, there is the Nissan. Oh, there's the Lamborghini. It was side-to-side contact initially that spun the Lamborghini, and then of course it all cracked off behind and involved the sister car at the same time. Bang! And there is the sister car indeed coming into the side of it. So it was the number 5 car that spun initially of Carl Wendlinger, and then backwards, straight into the sister car with the Belgian Racing Ford also getting a clout as well. Horrible start to the race then for the Swiss racing team, and indeed for the Mark VDS team that had their Ford in pole position. They've ended up losing out hugely as a result of that first corner accident. And that was the reaction from Clivio Piccioni as he saw his car being run wide into the gravel. Back to racing now, and it's Stefan Mucker who leads this race, being chased by the other Hexis car of Christian Hohenadel. So we've got 2 Astons coming up towards the front. Bit of a charge going on from the Corvette there. Mike Hastings was squeezing through, and also some battling Fords just behind him as trying to squeeze up the inside there. The number 40 car of Bas Linder's challenge for the lead here, and it's Christian Hohenadel trying to get down the inside of Stefan Mucker. Oh, and they make a little bit of contact. 2 Aston Martin drivers going absolutely at it here on German soil, both German drivers, and it's Christian Hohenadel, the reigning GT3 champion, who effectively won this chance to race this car, who's challenging. There is the puncture on Max Martin's car, presumably as a result of the contact in the first corner, and Hohenadel has another look. Oh, and this time he squeezes his way through. Lovely piece of aggressive overtaking from Christian Hohenadel as he manages somehow to fight his way past Stefan Mucker. And let's just take another look from Mucker's point of view. Well, there was a bit of bumping and boring, but that was a fair challenge from Christian Hohenadel. On a tight track like this, he's almost bound to get physical. Fred Makovicky, he knows that Max Martin's on his way into the pits with that puncture, and their chances are all but done. And now another challenge, this time from the Allinkel Lamborghini that takes second place as Dominic Schwager takes full advantage. Into the pits then comes the Hohenadel car to hand over to Piccini. Battle between these three that have been running so strongly in the race so far. Stefan Booker handing over to Darren Turner, and Hexis once again delivering on the pit stop as Andrea Piccini gets out well ahead of Nicky Pastorelli and indeed of Darren Turner, so they've gained yet more ground as a result of that. Championship leaders in the pits here. Marcus Winkelhock and Marc Basseng swapping over. Not been a brilliant weekend for them so far. Let's see as they come out onto the circuit now. Challenged by the Nissan and having to drop back a place there to the number 21 car. David Bradman, Jamie Campbell, Walter Kahn. They've only just come out just ahead of the other Hexis goal. Oh, something's gone wrong. Smoke from the back and he's off in the gravel and all over the place. Look at that rear wheel. It looks as though the wheel has actually come detached from the car. You can't believe it.
Henry, can you update us on the issue with number 38?
I don't know. We saw the slow-mo of the pit stop and the right rear, it looked all right. So I don't know, maybe it was just a puncture. We have to check when the car is back. No infos from Mark so far, so we will see.
Thank you.
On board the Corvette and Nick Katzberg. Oh, just up ahead there. Problem for the number 3 Hexis car, not the race leading car. Teammate and they're into the pit, so Piccioni back into the pit, but Christian Hohenadel watching nervously in the back of the pit. That car needed a tyre change. Looked like they picked up a puncture, but what's going on up front is it's much more comfortable. They've got a healthy lead with their number 4 car. Meanwhile, Mark Hinarici has passed the number 23 Nissan. Let's see where the Ford got past. Oh, it looked quite easy in the end for 8th place as the Ford just more suited to this track. But here comes the race winner. It is Andrea Piccini winning for Hexis along with Christian Hohenadel. They take their first victory of the season, coming home in 2nd place behind them. The Al Inkel Lamborghini of Schwager and Pastorelli with 3rd place for the Mucker, Turner, Aston Martin. Warren Hughes and Enrique Bernoldi are next up in the Nissan. And there is once again sheer delight down at the Hexis camp where they won a hard-earned victory thanks to Christian Hohenadel pushing hard in the early stages and finding a way past Stefan Mucker.
Congratulations, Andre. There's a few challenges on the way, but what a result.
Yeah, it's a great result. I mean, I think the team is doing from the beginning of the season a fantastic job, but I think that the national hero today is my teammate Christian that did a fantastic first stint. When it was raining in the beginning, it was pushing like, it was dry only for him. So he gave me the car in the lead. The team did a perfect pit stop. I just had to control. For me, was quite easy. He did the most of the job today.
An important victory that for Hohenadel and Piccioni, who have made up more than 23 points on the former championship leaders to take the series lead by 4 points over Winkelhock and Basseng. And what a crucial stage of the season to be right up there in the championship. From Sachsenring then, it's time for Silverstone in the UK. The Mark VDS Fords had shown tremendous pace at the Sachsenring, but the wide flowing spaces of Silverstone were a different matter.
It will be more difficult than in Sachsenring, because Sachsenring is a small track. For us it's a little bit better, but we will see. The first session we were not so good. We do 7, so we hope that we can be better for qualifying and the race.
Meanwhile, the all-British crew at Nissan was looking forward to home advantage.
When we look at the calendar at the start of the year, it's you look out for your home race, but it's even more special being such a famous circuit, one of the quickest tracks in the year. The team are based just down the road, and we've got so much support here. We need to get our championship back on track, and the pressure's on, but we're looking forward to it.
Pole position for the qualifying race has gone to the Corvette of Andy Zuber, but at the first corner it was a great start by Lucas Law to grab the advantage, and it was behind those two that it was all getting a little bit too exciting. Darren Turner found himself as part of a Nissan sandwich, and round went the Aston Martin, as did the Nissan of Peter Dumbreck, so British drivers in trouble. Up front, the 23 Nissan seemed to be in good form, but dropped time in the pit stop.
Why do you think that you lost the lead there?
We had a little bit communication issue with the pits. I thought to stay out 1 lap longer. In fact, I should have pitted 1 lap earlier.
That meant that the Aston Martin of the young driver team of Thomas Enger and Alex Muller came through to take victory at Silverstone in the qualifying race, with Krum and Lohr second and Hazelmans and Zuber third with the Corvette. The championship race at Silverstone is ready to get underway. The first international race to use the new pitch complex. Slightly cloudy, overcast conditions, but it should be a strong race. Aston Martin and Nissan on the front row. We've got Corvette and Nissan on the second row of the grid. Watch out for that Corvette, it's been fast. Dusseldorf and Pastorelli on row 3. Aston and Lamborghini. 2 Belgian Racing Fords are together on row 4. And on row 5, we've got a Corvette, another Aston. Cars heading around to take the start of the race here for the Tourist Trophy, a great name in motorsport, and it's Thomas Enger who's going to be battling with Michael Krummer. That's Warren Hughes, who's gone very wide and lost a huge number of places. He was starting on the second row of the grid, riding on board the Corvette of Mike Hazelmans. He started well up in third place, and he's still up with the leaders, but it's Warren Hughes who lost out massively on the run into the first corner, and he's still being jostled and pushed as they come around the tight section of the infield here, and squeezed out to the curb is the other Sumo Power car. Up front though, a good start by Thomas Enger that's got the young driver Aston Martin ahead of the others. Sumo Power car right down towards the back, but we're on board here with Stefan Booker. Now the two Alligal Lamborghinis side by side. Oh, and we've got a spinner right in the middle of the pack there. That's Antoine Leclerc spinning around in the Belgian Racing Ford, and hopefully he's going to get going once again. On board now with Richard Westbrook, obviously trying to cut his way through the field after that incident in the early part of the qualifying race. He's got some real work to be done here as Aston Martin continues to lead. Now we go on board with the Hexis Aston Martin of Hohenadel and Piccini. Look at this gaggle of cars all racing for position here. Westbrook's in the middle of that as well. We're on board with Christian Hohenadel, the championship leading car, remember, after their success at Sachsenring. And there, the number 38 car getting past his teammate, the Basso Bigglehop car that was leading the championship. They lost a wheel at Sachsenring, but they want the points and try and get themselves back up to the top of the table. This is a really tight group as Westbrook's still trying to fight his way from the back of the field to make some impression here, and he's got past the number 41 Ford of Fred Makovicky, so that, oh, and Westbrook's hit Stefan Booker. Round goes Booker in the Aston Martin. The car goes on again. Westbrook, it looks as though he might have some damage to that car. I think, yeah, he's just going slowly, cruising back down the road. And let's just see what happened here. He went for the move. He goes for the inside here. Noses up alongside, but Booker turns in and contact is made. Oh, and hang on, that's Booker's car suddenly looking a lot more damaged. He's obviously had contact with the wall after that incident. Marshall, let's see what happened here. He rejoined after the initial contact with Richard Westbrook. In fact, you can see Westbrook on the left-hand side, heading down the Haggard Straight. He waves his hand out, and then he hits him. He's hit Westbrook and just turns the car into the concrete wall. Well, that is absolutely remarkable, and Stefan Booker seems to have done a massive amount of damage. There's Richard Westbrook out of the car. He can't quite believe what has happened there. Another look, top of the screen, the white Aston, the black Nissan. The Aston just comes across into the Nissan. There's the view from Richard Westbrook and slaps into the wall, and Westbrook's car is now totally out of control. Well, that's brought out the safety car and everybody diving in the pit. So Thomas Enger from the race lead, but this car was close behind. It's going to be very tight in the pit lane. Here comes the Aston Martin, but it's been beaten out by Lucas Luhr in the Nissan. So a great pit stop this time from the JR Motorsports crew. And the Nissan is just in front, but not by much. And here comes Alex Muller in the Aston Martin trying to get past, if he possibly can. It's so tight. And their disappointment once again for Dominic Schweiger and Nicky Pastorelli, and in fact flames from the back of the Lamborghini. Oh, and here comes Alex Muller, another chance. He's got alongside the Nissan this time for the Tourist Trophy. Can he get in front? Thomas Enger's going crazy, but now Lucas Luhr comes back at him. And look at Andy Zuber in the Corvette. He's in third, but he might take the victory here. It's that close on the final lap at Silverstone. Lucas Luhr trying to hang on with the Nissan. Thomas Enger praying, seeing if they can take the victory. And here we come through the last few corners, and Lucas Luhr has surely done it. Yes, Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum win at Silverstone. Enger and Muller are second, and Michael Krum loves it. He is absolutely delighted with their second win of the season. And it's very significant in terms of the championship. These two guys will have now taken a 3-point series lead, courtesy of that victory.
Congratulations, Lucas. What a race that was for us to watch. How was it for you to take part in?
I think I older 5 years. I don't know if you can see the wrinkles already.
Well, me too.
But the boys in the pits, they did just an amazing job. Thanks to JIM, thanks for Nissan for providing us the GTI. He was so fantastic. We had two different concepts. You know, in the first couple of corners, he was quicker, I was quicker. The last part of the circuit, I'm absolutely happy. And it's very good for JIM because we have so many friends, family, sponsors here. So to give them a victory here and to all our boys, I'm really happy. Thanks to Michael, he did a fantastic job in the beginning, just keeps there with the Aston. And now we're gonna drink some champagne.
So the result, seeing the Nissan GTR taking victory at Silverstone, only just ahead of the young driver Aston Martin, and the Corvette also within half a second. What an absolutely fabulous finish it was to a famous race, the Tourist Trophy. Aston Martin, the Hexis team, finished in 4th place, ahead of the former championship leaders, the Lamborghini of Basseng and Winkelhock. And everybody now just wanting to get a glimpse of that famous trophy. There it is. The Tourist Trophy itself being held aloft by Michael Krum and Lucas Luhr after a famous victory here today. So they lead the Drivers' Championship by just 3 points, and they've moved JRM, the team, well up in the team's battle. Hexis also looking very strong. It's going to be tight. From Silverstone, the next round goes to Navarra in Spain. Having led the series in the early part of the season, Winkelhock and Basseng, who've taken 2 victories at Zolder in Belgium, have now dropped 3 points behind the leaders as the teams arrived at Navarra.
I hope so that this track suits to our car. We have to get our own points here this weekend if we still be one of the contenders for the championship.
The speed of the Alinkel Lamborghinis was proved in qualifying as they dominated the front row of the grid in preparation for the qualifying race. On the outside, the car Pasquarelli swept into the lead on the run down through the first corner, chased by Nissan and Corvette behind, but it was all fairly close into the first couple of corners. Not such a good qualifying for Alex Muller in the number 7 Aston Martin. 1 or 2 cars getting into trouble down towards the back of the pack, a bit of bumping and boring, which affected the car of Michael Krum. Meanwhile, there was a great dice going on with the number 41 Ford of Max Martin battling with Nico Verdonk in the Hexabank Team China Corvette. Not much to choose between the two V8 powered machines. The mid-engine Ford GT perhaps that little bit more nimble, but Nico Verdonk enjoying his one-off opportunity to race the Corvette, and he was giving it everything he could to try and squeeze his way past. Well, meanwhile, later in the race, that car, which is now in the hands of Bertrand Baguette, the number 41 car, was able to gain some places and move up the order. They would end up finishing in 3rd place, but the Lamborghinis came through to finish 1 and 2. Winkelhock and Basseng took victory, with Schwager and Pastorelli coming home in 2nd place. And Max Martin was very happy with his new teammate. It's a hot, hot day in northwestern Spain as we prepare for the next round of the championship. And everybody trying to get a bit of protection from the sun. It's going to be warm in the cars. Lamborghini and Ford on the front row, then Nissan and Aston Martin, the Hohenadel car there starting 4th. Another Nissan, that of Peter Dunbrek, with Dimitri Engelbert in the Corvette shared with Michael Rossi, then Schwager and Luhr. Schwager further back on the grid, they've had an engine change penalty. Championship race gets underway, and it's a very good start for Marcus Winkelhock from that pole position, busily trying to defend that place. Not such a good start from Bertrand Baguette in the Mark VDS Ford. He's lost a couple of places from his front row starting position. Nissan down the inside there as well, just seeing through to the start from Peter Dunbrek. Oh, and round goes the other Nissan. That is not good news for the championship leaders. And it's also been a problem for Clivio Piccioni in the Hexis Aston Martin, who had nowhere to go. The other Hexis car is still running in the 4 car, as you can see. And a move up the inside there for the number 7 Aston, Thomas Enger, gaining the position. Now, let's take another look at what happened at the start here. Sweeping into the first corner. This is on board the Ford GT as they run through that quick kick and then down into an ever-tightening pair of corners here. Some cars running a little bit wide on the outside of the circuit, and indeed the Ford does that, but gets back on again in the background. Krum was already in trouble. Let's see if we can pick it up from further round. I think he had a bit of contact with one of the Astons. Yeah, one of the Astons trying to squeeze up inside there. That hit the back of the Nissan, and round she went. The race being led at the moment by Markus Winkelhock. Good little dice going on here though. Dimitri Engelbert trying to protect his position from the number 37 car of Dominik Schweger. They started further back on the grid thanks to that engine change penalty, but he's already picking up the places. He's up into 4th position, and the Lamborghinis are flying here at Navarra this weekend. It really suits the V12 powered cars. Drive-through penalty, however, for Thomas Enger. That contact down at the first corner has given Thomas a drive-through penalty. On board the number 41 Ford as it desperately tries to get past the Aston Martin. This is for 6th place, and Bertrand Baguette has gained that position. So after making a rather poor getaway, he is beginning to pick up the pieces. Now the pit window opens, so the championship leading Nissan comes in early after the problems they had with the start of the race. They're busy trying to pick up some points. Bernoldi has handed over to Nicky Katzberg just behind. There's a problem with the Hexis car, stalls. That's going to cost them. Meanwhile, into the pits comes the Dominik Schweger, Nicky Pastorelli car. Dominik switching to Nicky. Oh, and reversing in the pit lane. That is David Brabham taking over from Jamie Campbell-Walter, and he's behind the Lamborghini now. And Jamie Campbell-Walter will be gutted about that.
Jamie, can you just explain what's going on with yourself?
Had a good start, got into 2nd. Stayed with the Lambo for as long as I could. Rear tyres started to go off, so just tried to drive as smoothly as I could.
What's been making you angry out there?
Well, a Nissan blocked another Nissan in the pit lane. It's completely unnecessary, I think, and I think the team's just made a mistake. But because all that's happened is that we've lost a place to the 4th place Lamborghini.
Now into the pits, the lead Lamborghini. Markus Winkelhock folds out. Marc Besseng jumps into the car. And there is their teammate's car. But we gather that, in fact, the other car has picked up a drive-through penalty. Let's see what happened on the pit stop. The guys pick up the wheels, and the car goes before he is behind the line. That is an automatic penalty. It is a drive-through penalty for the number 38 Lamborghini. They lose the lead of the race. But from their point of view, it's not quite so bad because their teammates take the lead, and they've managed to come back out in 2nd. Well, that just shows you the level of dominance that number 38 car's had today. And there is the number 22 Nissan now making a drive-through penalty. Richard Westbrook, that's for an unsafe release by the team in the pit stops. Final lap, and it looks as though we're going to at last see a victory for Schweger and Pastorelli. They've been so fast throughout the season, and now they're going to lead home. And Al Inkel 1-2. They were 1-2 in the qualifying race the other way round. They're 1-2 in the championship race, and that means this weekend they will have scored maximum points possible. A remarkable team effort by Al Inkel. 3rd place goes to the Nissan of Jamie Campbell-Walter and David Brabham, and 4th is Baguette and Max Martin in the Ford GT. But what a day it has been for the German team, for Al Inkel Motorsport, who have dominated proceedings here, and it's victory for Pastorelli and Schweger. The Lamborghinis have reigned in Spain.
Congratulations, Dominic. What a weekend you've had.
Thank you. I mean, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, it's strange to be really happy because we were always so close. Yesterday we had the fastest car, just always something happened. So finally, I was not sure what will happen in the last 5 minutes, but it worked out. Of course, our teammates have been a bit unlucky, but I think to be unlucky with 2nd place, they can live with it. And I think we missed out on many podiums already. So finally, this victory is just good for us and obviously really for our crew. They did an amazing job, and it keeps the motivation up again.
And congratulations, Nicky. The team are really on it this year, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I can only say one thing, finally. I mean, we should have been here already so many times, and now we finally did it, so I hope there will be more.
Thank you, guys.
Victory for Pastorelli and Schweger means that they have jumped up to 4th place in the points, but their teammates, Winkelhock and Besseng, have now taken the championship lead once more over Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum. From Spain to France and the Paul Ricard circuit. Beautiful scenery and stunning Aston Martins. As the 6th event got underway at Paul Ricard, the Hexis team was hoping to further cement its position amongst the top in the team's championship.
It's a very important weekend for us. It's a home race for the team, and we have to fight to get to the top. It's a 4 race to go to the end, and it's getting close. We have to push very hard this weekend, grab as many points as possible and get on the podium.
Nissans were 1, 2 and 4 on the grid, the only interloper being Alex Muller with the Aston Martin. They headed down towards the first corner. Peter Dunbrett started the pole position. The car was busy trying to fend off Lucas Law, his teammate, and quite a few cars decided to take a shortcut through the first inning. That would lead to drive-through penalties awarded later on in the race. The Nissans up front were dominating proceedings, and it came down to a straightforward battle. First to make the pit stop was Peter Dunbrett to hand over to Richard Westbrook as he went back out onto the circuit. A time lost just on the restart, but staying out there, Lucas Law is making sure of putting in some quick laps. And in fact, after his pit stop, Michael Krum, who'd taken that car over, was able to come out in front. That meant Westbrook was in second, but not on the last lap. He wasn't any longer because a great move by Thomas Enger took the young driver Aston Martin into second place. Michael Krum came through to take the victory in the number 23 car, pole position for the championship race at Paul Ricard, and second place went to Thomas Enger and Alex Muller, and up to third on the last lap was Stefan Mucker in the car shared with Darren Turner, and this was how he'd done it, with a bash on Richard Westbrook. The teams are all set to run the Paul Ricard circuit in the south of France as the next round of the GT1 World Championship gets underway. And pole position has been earned by Michael Krum in the Nissan alongside the young driver Aston Martin. On the second row, the Stefan Mucker Darren Turner car and the Ford of Makovici and Martin. And then we have a Lamborghini and a Nissan together, the Westbrook Dunbrett car starting 6th on the grid. Katzberg and Hohenadel next to each other on row 4, and on row 5 it's Corvette versus Ford. Lights go to green, and immediately it looks like a pretty good start for the Nissan, but it's a challenge for the Aston Martin of Thomas Enger on the outside. The Corvette trying to dive down on the inside. Mike Haseman's making use of every bit of road and a bit more, but it is Michael Krum leading as they turn in. Thomas Enger has slotted into second place, just about fending off Stefan Mucker, his teammate, and not everybody keeping within the confines of the track. That was Mike Haseman's getting squeezed out over the curb and bouncing his way, and that's not going to help him at all when he looked to have some decent pace here. We're on board the other Corvette. This is Dimitri Engelbert, who's just lost a position there. The two Hexes Aston Martins on their home track, trying to take full advantage of this. And Dimitri Engelbert involved in quite a dice with them, running in 10th place at the moment. And it looks as though it might be the night if he can squeeze past the Hohenadel car. The number 4 machine, Christian Hohenadel, desperately trying to defend on the inside, and Engelbert just gets around the outside. That was a good piece of overtaking. Corvette squeezes past Hex's Aston Martin for the moment. Looking back now from the car of Fred Makovici, the Ford under attack from Richard Westbrook in the Nissan. Nissan versus Ford GT tucked in there, and round he goes. Richard Westbrook takes the place from the number 41 car. Now we're on board with Jamie Campbell-Walter in the number 21 Sumo Power car, challenging Livio Piccioni, trying to go around the outside into the chicane. Oh, he's done it! He's done it! That's a lovely move from Jamie Campbell-Walter, squeezing the car alongside these big, powerful GT cars. Very little room to do it, but it was beautifully executed. And now we've got some more challenge for two Hexus cars. Look at that, running absolutely side by side with Engelbert. We're on board with him, running tucked in behind as well. Oh, and off stage right goes the number 3 car of Livio Piccioni. Oh, that's bitterly disappointing. Let's take another look at this with on board the Corvette. I don't think there was any contact. It looks as though the car just swapped round on him. Strange accident that. But off goes Livio Piccioni, and this is another view. You just see the back end of the car swing round as he comes into the corner and shoot off to the right hand side, and Livio Piccioni losing a huge amount of ground as a result of that. It's pit stop time. Christian Hohenadel will be handing over to Andrea Piccini in the Hexus Aston Martin. There's the car that's been leading the race. It's had a good stop. Michael Krum has handed over to Lucas Law, and behind, yes, the Aston Martin of Alex Muller stays in second position for the moment. Meanwhile, this is a good tussle going on for 12th place now. The number 47 Corvette, Michael Rossi now at the wheel of that, and he's under pressure from Martin Arricci in the Ford, and of course the recovering Hexus Aston Martin, which had the spin earlier on. That's trying to join in on the Act 2 and sweep around the outside of the Ford as they come up towards senior corner, and he's done it. That's a lovely move. There's nothing that Henrici could really do to prevent that, and he's now busy trying to defend the inside, but again he's lost another place as the number 10 car goes through. The Antoine Leclerc Jan Claret car has also made a move. Now this is Peter Dumbreck, he's in fourth, and Nissan leading. We've got Darren Turner now running in second place, getting ahead of Alex Muller at the pit stops. Now what's been going on here? Oh, this has all been a bit heavy-handed indeed. That's Enrique Bernoldi hitting the side of the Winkelhock Basset car, and these two are still trying to outrace one another, and the Nissan just about squeezing in front as Marc Basset was clambering over the curbs in trying to avoid it. What's going on here? That's problems for Peter Dumbreck. Suddenly the car slows down. It's weaving around. There's broken suspension or something on that car. Richard Westbrook walks away. He can't believe it. They've dropped valuable championship points here, and that's really going to hurt their campaign. And meanwhile, this is a great race that's going on between Alex Muller and Maxime Martin. These guys fighting hard. Also involved in that is David Brabham in the Sumo Power Nissan. You can see David Brabham getting stuck right into it in the middle of the two of them. And this is fantastic dicing for the final podium positions here. Also sneaking down the inside is the Christian Hohenadel Andrea Piccini car. Piccini takes 5th place as a result of that, but here comes the race winner then for the 3rd time in a championship race this year. Michael Krum and Lucas Lohr take the victory, not by much. The Aston Martin of Booker and Turner finishing in 2nd place, Enger and Muller finishing in 3rd, just ahead of Campbell, Walter and Brabham, Hohenadel and Piccini, then Makovicky and Martin.
Congratulations, Lucas. Another fantastic performance. Somehow I think we're going to be speaking again in front of this interview panel this season.
Well, it's really the first absolute perfect weekend. I mean, the way drove Michael at the start, he defended his line, he had enough gap. You know, it's always mess in the first corner, but then he pulled out a little gap. So for me, it was easy. I just have to go out the pit lane and maintain it. So it was a very sweet win because very, very nice weekend. Thanks to JRM, Nissan and Nismo. Our car was just mega. I mean, it's nothing to add really.
So Lohr and Krum take victory, the trophy and indeed the championship lead. They have overturned the championship points table. And now GT1 goes to China. While the Fords of the Mark VDS team have so far enjoyed a patchy season, the team came to China on a high, having a non-World Championship GT event, and team manager and driver of the number 40 car, Bas Leinders, was in confidence.
After winning the race in the Blancpain series with the Mark VDS racing team and Maxime Martin, we are really confident that we can also do a good job here in Ordos. Ordos seems to be a quite twisty and bumpy track, which always suits the Ford GT.
The qualifying race got underway with the Ford GT on pole position of Max Martin and Fred Makovicky. Westbrook Dumbreck Nissan was trying to go around the outside into the first corner, but it was the Ford that took the initial advantage. 2 new Lamborghinis joining into the fray as well, the DKR discount cars at the back of the field. Fred Makovicky handed over to Max Martin, having developed a useful lead in the early part of the race. And it was helped by the fact that their main rivals, Richard Westbrook and Peter Dumbreck, had a poor stop with the number 22 car. The Ford GT was away pretty rapidly, and they were able to capitalise on that. But the odd little mistake at JRM, and that meant the gap was much bigger after the pit stop. So at the end of the race, it was an untroubled victory for Max Martin and Fred Makovicky. Westbrook and Dumbreck still managed to finish in 2nd place, with Jamie Campbell-Walter and David Brabham finishing 3rd. The championship race at Ordos ready to get underway, and Ford GT certainly dominating in the qualifying race. The question is, can they do the same in the championship race? Lovely local colour on display as we prepare for the race. It's Ford versus Nissan up front, and Westbrook and Dumbreck will be hoping for better pit stops. Another Nissan on the 2nd row with the Aston of the Hexis team, and then again another Nissan of Katzberg and Bernoldi with the Lamborghini of Pastorelli and Schwager. Row 4, Aston versus Aston, Young Driver versus Hexis, and then the Ford GTs on row 5. The lights go to green, and it is a very good start immediately for the Ford. It is Maxime Martin's leading, but he's under challenge from Richard Westbrook into the first corner. But again, Westbrook can't quite get the speed to run around the outside of the Ford GT. The mid-engine configuration of this Ford suits the tight, twisty confines of this Ordos circuit so well. And as everybody tries to get through on the opening lap, pretty clean so far, I have to say. No one getting into any trouble. The Ford up front trying to get away, and there's the battle between Ford and Nissan a bit further back. And indeed, Michael Krum, is he going to be able to squeeze through? Yes, he is, just about. But Michael Krum and Lucas Lord not as far up the grid as they would want to be in their defence of their championship lead as it stands at the moment. Oh, off has gone the number 20 car, and that is Nicky Katzberg that's gone off, and that's a great disappointment for Nicky. Well, we've also got another spinner. There are a couple of spinners there. That is Christopher Nygaard in the number 9 car, who has gone off. Yellow flags in that area of the circuit as he stalled. He just lost control, and unfortunately that also caused a spin for Mark Canarici, and everyone else just about managed to avoid the bright yellow car. Another view from on board. Just watch up ahead as, and it all causes a bit of a traffic jam. Now, pit stops being made. Aston Martin coming in early. So is the German Nissan, number 41 car, in from the race lead. So Max Martin now handing over to Fred Makovicky. Away goes the 41 Ford GT, and it's looking good. He gets away cleanly. Again, another problem on the number 23 Nissan. Oh, and more places lost. What a horrible weekend this is turning into for the championship leaders. They've got real problems on that right rear, and this is going to make their championship lead much more tenuous going into the final rounds of the series. Mind you, Winkelhock and Basseng having their own problems now. Richard Westbrook has come in to hand over to Peter Dunbreck. Number 4, Hex's Aston Martin is in at the same time as well. There is the race leading car, Fred Makovicky. Has he got enough of a margin as these guys head out of the pits? There goes Peter Dunbreck. Has he done enough to get in front of the Ford? It's going to be a close run thing here. Ford on the outside, lights ablaze, and it's just going to be getting in front. So Fred Makovicky just manages to stay in front and maintain the advantage for the Mark VDS team. On board the number 23 Nissan here, and Michael Krum now really making a bit of an attack on the Corvette. Goes down the outside there to try and take the place. He's done it. Let's get back down to the pits.
Max, Peter's gone out on the Nissan on new tyres. Has Fred gone out there? Can he hold the Nissan off?
It will not be easy, but we have a car which is very constant, so I hope we can stay in front to the end. Fred is doing a very good job for the moment, so I hope it can be good until the end.
Makovicky still with the advantage, watching David Brabham in the middle of that pack. He's been putting some quick times in. Oh, and we've got a spinner. That's the Corvette, the number 12 car of Michael Rossi. He has just lost it in the middle of the pack there. Thankfully, I don't think he's been hit by anybody. Race leader comes around then, and it's looking very good for Fred Makovicky. The checker flag is there for him, and despite the Nissan being close in the final stages, it wasn't quite close enough. Westbrook and Dunbreck second, Dusseldorp and Piccioni finished in third, Hohenadel and Piccini in fourth place ahead of Turner and Mucker, and Pastorelli and Schwager bringing their Lamborghini home in sixth position. But a fantastic victory for Mark VDS.
Congratulations, Fred. Finally, you've won the championship race.
Yeah, it's sure. It's fantastic for us, for the team. Everybody do a really, really good job. And it was really good for us, because after this season, it's good.
So the Ford wins at Ordos ahead of the Nissan, then the Aston Martins. But interestingly, right down in 8th and 9th places, the championship leaders, the Nissan, the number 23 car, only picking up a couple of points, and the Lamborghini as well. So no great changes to the championship order. Lucas Luhr and Michael Krum still leading the points from Winkelhock and Basseng, but Piccini and Hohenadel have closed in a little bit, and Turner and Mucker are still in the fight. So the Fords on top in the first round in China. What would happen in the second in Beijing? As members of the Beijing Supercar Club enjoyed the streets of Beijing, the Hexis team was focusing on both drivers and teams championships, with their best placed driver pairing 17 points behind Fulmor as a team.
The goal is the championship, of course, and I think everybody saw in the paddock that we have a really good team spirit. For the moment, the guys are the best on pit stop, definitely, and my 4 drivers are really fantastic, so it will be good to be a world champion, and we have a chance in the driver championship too.
But even closer in the Drivers' Championship to the leading Nissan was the Al-Inkle Lamborghini of Basseng and Winkelhock, which had suffered a disappointing time at the Ordos round.
It's still possible to win the championship. We are 12 points behind. Mark and me, we are pushing until the end of the season, then we will see. I think the most important thing is that you don't make too much pressure to yourself. Just go in the normal way, and then it should be alright.
It was Ford versus Aston Martin at the start of the qualifying race, but the main rival was the weather conditions because it was very wet, very slippery on the Golden Port circuit in Beijing. Very quickly off into the gravel was Bertrand Baguette from the pole position, and teammate Max Martin could barely believe it. The replay showed he'd had a problem with the gear change as he got into the hairpin. Nothing he could do to stop slithering into the gravel. End of race for the Ford. Christian Hohenadel and Andrea Piccini were picking up the places with the Hex's Aston Martin going extremely well in the wet weather conditions, but unfortunately that wasn't the same case for Ho Ping Tung, the Chinese driver in the Corvette, another to fall victim of the slippery surface and the deep gravel tracks. Coming through to take victory, it was the Thomas Enger Alex Muller Aston Martin ahead of teammates Mucker and Turner. Hohenadel and Piccini finished in third place. The championship race in Beijing, and weather conditions, if anything, even worse than they were for the qualifying race. On the front row, we've got two Aston Martins from the young driver team. They'll be looking to lock out the podium with Hohenadel in his Aston and Lure in the Nissan behind. On row 3, another Aston and a Ford. Jonathan Hershey getting the car well up on the grid for this one. Richard Westbrook and Michael Rossi are together on row 4. And on row 5, it's Katzberg and Jamie Campbell-Walter. Conditions so bad that we've been behind safety car for a while, but now as the green flag flies, it's a good start for the Aston Martin up front. And as they all charge down into the first corner under racing conditions, it's going to be quite... Oh, and straight out of the race, that's Piccioni and Dusseldorp's car into the gravel immediately. On board here with Max Martin in the Ford GT, the car also coming from the back of the field after Bertrand Baguette beached the car in the qualifying race. Oh, and you could just see how slippery and slidey it is and very difficult to gain any traction here. But Max Martin definitely one to watch as he tries to make some progress. And we've got the safety car out again, and it's because of the car, and that's championship contending car, the number 38 car of Basseng of Winkelhock, buried deep in the gravel trap. That is incredibly disappointing, and it could have massive ramifications for the championship. Let's see what happened. This was on the run to the first corner in the spray. Hard to see very much. Oh, he got a hit from behind. Definitely a knock from behind. Several cars following through. Oh, and there's Westbrook's car in. Maybe the contact was with Westbrook. That's the other Alincourt car. My goodness, it's all going wrong for the Alincourt team, both in drivers and teams championships. The Beijing race proving to be an absolute disaster, and Nicky Pastorelli can only shake his head. Race gets underway once again, and it's the Enger-Muller car ahead. Aston Martin looking in strong form here because you've got the two Aston Martins behind, the young driver and the Hex's cars. Everybody now tiptoeing their way in these tricky conditions. Pit stops, Alex Muller takes over from Thomas Enger as the rest of the cars head down pit lane. Michael Krum and Lucas Lure have also made their driver change. Lucas jumps out of the car. Alex Muller brings the Aston out ahead of the Nissan, so the Aston still looking in very good shape to lead this race. Nissan follows down this long pit lane. The other Aston, though, still in the group here, Darren Turner and Stefan Mucker. If they can get a decent pit stop, then they could be in the mix as well. Darren Turner on his way, exits the pit lane. Now, where's he going to come out relative to the other car? He's come out ahead of the other Aston Martin. That could be very significant, but so far we haven't seen all of the cars come into the pit lane. Now keep an eye on the Hex's team. Christian Hohenadel drove a very good first stint there. Andrea Piccini is now taking over. This was a moment ago before he came in, though. He was passed by Max Martin, who's had a charging drive from the back to actually take the lead. So Max Martin, the Ford, also hasn't made his pit stop yet. Now the Hex's car has made its stop. Where will it come out with regard to the other Astons? It's in front. It's in front of both of the young driver cars. Andrea Piccini will be leading this race, but it will depend on this car now. The Ford in the pits as Max Martin hands over to Bertrand Baguette. An absolutely brilliant drive by Martin in these difficult conditions, and he rejoins and he comes out right with the race leader, and in fact slots into second place there. So it is still Piccini who leads in his Aston Martin, and now Bertrand Baguette under pressure from the young driver car. It's going to sneak past Darren Turner. He's on the outside now though, and the Ford's got back in front. So really tight competition between these guys. Remember, this is for second, third and fourth at the moment. Darren Turner moves one way, then the other. Bertrand Baguette though he's being a bit cautious. This is where he went off in the qualifying race. He leaves the door open. Darren Turner is through on the inside, and it could be that the other car's going to go through as well. He's going to try and squeeze past the Engelmuller car, also just getting alongside Baguette, and yet Bertrand Baguette can do nothing about that. So there are now 3 Aston Martins up front in this race, and look at this, Bas Linders into a spin there, contact with the Sumo Nissan Corvette making a move as well.
Baz, unfortunately, it really hasn't been your weekend. Can you take us through what happened?
Well, Mark did a very good start. Of course, there was a lot of incidents, so we took advantage of that. We were on position 7, then we pitted. I was behind the Nissan. At the beginning, I struggled a little bit because the tires were new, but then when the tires came in, I was a lot faster. And I was alongside past the pit straight, went into the first corner. I left some space on the inside if needed, and but he hit me on my right rear, and I think again the drive shaft or something is broken.
Battle continuing here for 5th place in the Corvette of Rossi and Verdonk on a real charge as well, taking 5th place from the Katzberg Bernaldi car. And in the closing stages of this race, the Corvette seems to be loving the conditions, but while one does, the other doesn't. And Jeroen den Boer off into the gravel trap. The car he shares with Ho Pin Tung sadly out of the race. On board with Nico Verdonk, he's having a great stint in the Corvette, but the safety cars come out, and there's concern at Hexis. Now what's gone on here? Something's happened, I think, to the race leader. The 2 Aston, where is Piccini? Piccini has vanished. We've got the 2 young driver cars have been collected by the safety. There is Piccini. The car is off in the gravel trap. My goodness, what a surprise. He seemed to have this race in the bag. There it is, in the gravel and out of the race. It is all over.
Sadly, the race is over for both cars in the team. Do you know what happened?
I don't know what happened. I just want to say one word. We are the best team in the world this year. We are the best team. The best. And we are at the top.
Thank you.
Well, the race still under safety car, and it looks as though it's going to finish under safety car now, because we've only got this final lap, and there is Darren Turner, who is going to head for victory. Safety car will peel off into the pits, but the checkered flag awaits, and it's Darren Turner to take victory for the young driver team. In fact, it's a 1-2 for young driver in both races, so they have done what Al Inkle did earlier this year and got the total maximum score available from the whole weekend. The Lure Krum Nissan finishes in 3rd place. Max Martin finally finished in 4th place. Well, what a day it is for young driver in Beijing.
Congratulations on a mega weekend, Darren. You must be happy to have that over and done with. What a challenge it was.
Yeah, I mean, great race. Probably the most difficult of the year. Really difficult conditions, and at one point we're leading, at one point we're second, and it was just really grateful when the Hexas went off and then the safety car came out. It sort of brought the end race to an end, but it was a good race in just very difficult conditions.
So Darren Turner and Stefan Mucker win in Beijing and put themselves second in the Drivers' Championship, just 11 points behind Krum and Lure. From Beijing to South America and a unique circuit outside San Luis in Argentina. The Potrero de los Funes track surrounds the lake. Michael Krum started from pole position for the race, but alongside was the Corvette of newcomer Jelmer Berman. And Berman had nothing to lose. He went on the attack into the first corner. Michael Krum being cautious with the opportunity to win the championship in this first race of the weekend allowed the Corvette ahead. Krum came in to hand over to Lucas Lure. They were still sitting in second place, a secure second place. The Corvette maintained the lead, and even though Francesco Pastorelli, who was now in the Corvette, perhaps didn't have quite the same experience level as Jelmer Berman, who'd been in the car earlier, still he was able to withstand the approach from Lucas Lure in the closing stages, and despite the Nissan breathing down his neck, the Corvette came through to take victory. The 2 young Dutch drivers had done brilliantly well. Michael Krum had done enough to win the championship. Francesco Pastorelli came over to celebrate success in the Corvette, but the new world champions were Michael Krum and Lucas Lure.
Congratulations, Lucas, a new world champion. You and Michael Crum have been unbeatable this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really. I just, thanks to Nissan, to Michael, especially to Michael, I learned a lot from him. He's a great guy and, you know, incredibly quick, so that always allowed me to raise my game a little bit, and, you know, to be champions now is wonderful for me and Michael. Winning with the number 23 Nissan is just great. You know, I don't have other expressions.
How tempted were you to try and take the win, Lucas? We saw you fighting, but we were wondering whether you were going to try and take it or just relax, and you did relax. You are world champion, but did you really want the win as well?
Yeah, of course I was going for it, and the guys on the radio said, don't take any risk, and I was pushing as hard as I could, and in the last couple of laps I saw him, you know, he was a little bit slower, but at the end it doesn't matter. We are world champions, and now the pressure is off, and we're going to have a fantastic race tomorrow.
It's time for the final race of the season, and while the Drivers' Championship might have been settled, there's still a team's title to be won. The Hexis team are outsiders. It's really between JR Motorsports with their Nissans and the Young Driver team with their Aston Martins. They have some work to do. Let's hear from team boss Jan Struve.
Jan, you've got quite the fight on your hands, starting from third row back. Can you take the team's championship?
I can say one thing, we will do our very best. We will fight to the end. And I hope the race will keep exciting the whole way, and then all cars stay in the race. So we will really end it in a good way and not too many crashes.
Thank you.
Cars are lining up on the grid then, and starting from pole position once again, it is going to be the Corvette that took the victory in the qualifying race of Pastorelli and Berman. Luhr and Krum alongside them on that front row. Then it's the Lamborghini of Schwager. Bernoldi's Nissan is on the second row with him. Then the Aston of Thomas Enger and Alex Muller. Winkelhock's up there too. Then we've got another Nissan, another Aston Martin from the Hexis team. Race gets underway and the Corvette leads them as they get... And there's a crash behind all! Cars all over the place, into the wall, spinning down the straight, this slightly curved start-finish straight. And it's all gone right. The championship winners are in that. Luhr and Krum's car's in the middle of that. Basseng and Winkelhock's car. We've got another Lamborghini, two more Lamborghinis in that. Both Al-Inkle cars are in the mess there. Oh, this is absolutely disastrous. And now the leaders are all slowing down. They seem to be confused as to whether they should back off, whether the safety car's been called or not. Riding on board the number 7 Aston, and that's just piling down the outside. Alex Muller overtaking cars. But look at the amount of damaged machinery there is. The Corvette is still leading. There is Muller working his way around the outside. Michael Crum can't believe it. His car destroyed by the looks of things in the final race of the year. And they have no chance now of scoring points for JR Motorsports. So they'll be down to one car in the field. And Al-Inkle as well. What a horrible end to the season it has been for them, with both cars very, very badly damaged. Let's take another look at a replay. In the middle of the pack, you've got Bernoldi. He gets sandwiched between the Lamborghini and Lucas Luhr in the Nissan, and that's what sets it all off. And then there's just nowhere to go. If you're on the outside of the track, you end up in a huge shunt there. And if you're on the inside, hopefully you got away with it. The safety cars actually brought the cars through the pits.
Lucas, such a disappointing start for you. Not the way you wanted to end the weekend.
Oh, especially I don't know what happened. You know, the Corvette had a better get-go, and I was behind him, and suddenly I just felt a big hit from the right, the right side, and my car just went into a 90 degrees angle straight into the wall, and then I just closed my eyes, and there was a couple of more cars were hitting, and you know, well, I don't know what happened.
I'm glad you're okay. Thank you, Lucas.
Well, here's the view from on board Michael Rossi's Corvette. Now, he was 2/3 or so of the way down the pack. It will all be happening just up ahead of him to the left. Brake lights come on, tyre smoke, and he goes right, which was exactly the right thing. And you can see Alex Muller spinning through two 360-degree spins on the left-hand side of the shot there. But he avoided the wall, unlike those cars in a very expensive car park. Alex Muller leads as the green flag flies now. He's ahead of the Corvette. Certainly there was some confusion under the safety car there. Also trying to make up some ground is Richard Westbrook. He also seemed to make up a lot of ground when the safety car came out, and he's going to try and push his way forwards as he does so, getting past the Lamborghini. There's contact there, bits of bodywork flying all over the place. On board with Christian Hohenadel in the Hexis Aston Martin, and he's lost a bonnet on that car, so he's got, I don't know what's going on there, he's got bits of bodywork rubbing on the front tyre as well. In the pits then, Alex Muller handing over to Thomas Enger. Richard Westbrook's out to the number 22 Nissan, and Peter Dumbreck is now taking over. The battle for the team's championship is between those two teams, but out of the race is the number 12 Corvette. Michael Rossi's car badly damaged there, and away goes both Aston and Nissan, and that's the way they're running as they come out of the pit stops, 1 and 2. Remember, these two teams trying to win the team's championship, both down to one car left in this race. Oh, but it's a drive-through penalty for taking the lead under safety car earlier on, and that means Thomas Enger will have to come in. Now, this was under safety car earlier. You saw the Aston go up the left-hand side, and he definitely overtook some cars when they had seen a yellow flag, so he has been penalised for that. Taking a look, yellow flags top right of screen, and watch the Aston Martin from the back coming down, overtaking other cars, and definitely making up places. No other yellow flags here, but there had been a yellow flag further back down that straight. So Alex Muller has been found guilty. It's Thomas Enger who will have to take the penalty now that he's in the car, and in he comes. Now this has a massive implication for the team's championship. This will drop the young driver Aston Martin right to the back of the field, and you can feel the frustration coming out of the cockpit of that car. And on board the number 22 car, perhaps they're feeling better, but there is a question mark, in fact, as to whether when Richard Westbrook was in the car, he may have overtaken under the same yellow flag. So that's up for grabs as well.
Aaron, your impression, do you think that Alex just didn't see the yellow flag?
Yeah, we have talked a lot of time now with the race director, and he have showed us, yeah, it was a yellow flag outside, and sorry, we can nothing do. He has not seen the board, he has not seen the yellow flags, Alex, and yeah, okay, he's go on. And now, after the race director has spoken with the race director, we have seen, yeah, okay, the yellow flag was out, and sorry, okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Well, Peter Dumbreck continues to lead the race, but up to second place goes the Corvette. Nice piece of overtaking there from Jelmer Berman, getting past the number 3 Hexis car. And Jelmer Berman, who took victory in the qualifying race, really being urged on by his team to see whether they can get any more out of this. The Lamborghini, meanwhile, now trying to get past the number 3 Aston, and has done so, and squeezes through there. But the Hexis Aston Martin team still have both cars running quite well up in the points here. Peter Dumbreck leads, but there's still this big question mark.
Richard, did you not see the yellow flag when you were out on track?
Well, I came past the big accident at the beginning, and main thing, thank God everyone's okay. And I thought I was going to hit someone. I mean, you just couldn't see anything. It was a big, big mess. There was no yellow flags up there. The Corvette braked. Everyone came round. The Aston Martin went to the front. I was in 4th position. For sure, I gained a couple of places, but there was no safety car sign at that point.
Well, here comes Dumbreck to take his drive-through penalty, dropping well down the order, and still this team's championship is not decided. Now both young driver and JRM Nissan are pushed down to the outer reaches of the points, and in fact he's going to rejoin right with the young driver Aston Martin, being driven by Thomas Enger now. Well, this is fascinating in the closing stages of the race, which one of these teams will come out on top. But with these two so far down, the Hexis Aston Martins are running 4th and 5th now, and that could give them a chance. And Andrea Pacini's just lost a place, actually. He was in 4th, he's just been pushed back to 5th by the Nissan ahead, but Hexis are running 3rd and 5th. The top 2 cars don't score teams points because they were late entries, so this could give Hexis enough points. Let's wait to see what happens. Through the final corner, it is victory in the championship race for Jelmer Berman and Francesco Pastorelli. 2nd place goes to the Lamborghini of Christopher Haas and Manuel Lauck. 3rd is going to go to the first of the Hexis cars, Clivio Piccioni and Steph Dusseldorp. Then I think in 4th place it's going to be the Nissan of Enrique Bernoldi and Nicky Katzberg. Yes, it is. And in 5th place, the 2nd Hexis car without its bonnet. And that should be enough in terms of points. Meanwhile, the JRM Nissan's got past young driver. Everybody's trying to work out what's going on here. Nobody quite knows.
Philippe, congratulations, you are world champion.
Well, the team's ecstatic, they have gone crazy, but team manager Philippe Dumas is lost for words.
Clement, congratulations, an emotional result, and what a great year.
Yes, very great, it's fantastic. We don't understand what happened now. We don't understand, it's all the team, a driver, big championship. We are very, very, very satisfied.
A brilliant final podium of the year for Piccioni and Dusseldorp has earned the team the team's championship.
Congratulations, Clivier, what a way to finish the season, podium finish and the world champion.
It's just amazing. The team did an awesome job all the way through, and to finish this way, the end of the year, we didn't think about it, but now it's just the best day of my life.
But let's hear now from our winners on their debut, Francesco Pastorelli and Jelmer Berman.
Congratulations, Jelmer. It's been quite the weekend for the two of you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, we came here just to have fun, basically. Of course, we always push as hard as possible. But to leave here with 2 wins is pretty amazing. I mean, at this level, and then just jump in a car we didn't know and win. It's quite a good feeling.
What a remarkable weekend for these two youngsters on board the Corvette. But the final championship positions show that Krum and Law have taken the Drivers' World Championship from Mucker and Turner, while Hohenadel and Piccini finished third. Proudly showing off their silverware, the German pairing on board the number 23 Nissan had prevailed over the course of the season and have followed in the footsteps of Bartels and Bertolini. In the team's championship, Hexis won a last-gasp victory with their Aston Martins, just beating JR Motorsports and young driver AMR, while Al Enkel finished fourth. For the small but intensely competitive French team, it was a worthy victory after a passionately fought campaign, and their delight was plain to see. So, the winners of the FIA GT1 World Championship, both drivers and teams, celebrated their success in traditional style in Argentina, and the curtain closes on another phenomenal season.